Hello everybody and welcome to RSBANDB Update Supplemental. First off, it's been a little while since we've had one of these supplementals, but that's due to a variety of factors, scheduling, update frequency, and some technical issues on this end. But nonetheless, we hope to be back to a regular issue on the supplemental front. And always, if you are looking for us when we are having an off week and we do not have a supplemental, you can find us at update.rsbnb.com. Anyways, to begin with, today we are talking about the release of Plague's End and what exactly has led us to this point. We're not exactly going to be going into Plague's End or what happens in that quest. That's going to be left to this weekend when we chat about it and sum up a storyline 12 years in the making. But with anything, as time passes, we often need a refresher, and today that is exactly what we're going to do. Recap the previous quests. Alright, so first up, Plague City, August 27th, 2002. This is the first quest in the line, and as with any other quest, it starts out simple enough. It's a very simple premise on top, and that is that a plague has gripped West Ardoyan, and King Lathis has sealed it off. And naturally, as the adventurer we are, we want to know exactly what is going on in there. We discover Alina, a girl who cares about the sick in West Ardoyan, and she goes missing once she goes in there to examine what exactly is going on. Once we retrieve her, she begins her work on analyzing the plague, and this is where Plague City leaves off. We then jump ahead to October 23rd, 2002 with the release of Biohazard. We begin this quest by helping Alina recover her equipment that she needs in order to conduct a thorough analysis of the plague that has gripped West Ardoyan. So after we head into West Ardoyan undercover and recover her equipment, it's discovered that a more comprehensive test is ultimately required. So this results in us painstakingly guiding the plague sample all the way to Varrock. And this is something that many players initially did have trouble with, seeing as you cannot teleport, you cannot really use any form of shortening the visit. And back in the olden days, you did need to walk all the way from West Ardoyan to Varrock with these files in your inventory. Once the analysis is complete in Varrock, we discover that the plague is a hoax. There's nothing really going on with the samples we have, and this hoax is actually designed to protect West Ardoyan and all of RuneScape from following King Tyrus, who is determined to be evil, and following what is known as the Dark Lord. Alright, so after Biohazard, some time passes, and we jump to March 3rd, 2003 with the release of Underground Pass. Now everyone might remember Underground Pass as one of the most treacherous quests in RuneScape agility and obstacle-wise. This is the absolute truth. So we begin our trek westward to find King Tyrus and confront him. And throughout this process, as I mentioned, you navigate a tedious path of tunnels and agility obstacles. It is one of the first true agility-based quests in the game, even before agility had a central footing that we all know today. After making our way through the Underground Pass, we discover the Well of Voyage. This is a portal that takes visitors to the Elven lands as we know it today, but there's of course a problem. The well itself is controlled by a source of pure evil, and that is Iban. The player goes through a ritual to defeat and banish Iban back to Zamorak's realm. We are, of course, successful in that regard, and in doing this, work can begin on restoring the well to a form of transportation. We then jump ahead to September 30th, 2004 with the release of Regicide. The forested Elven lands open up. We begin our trek to find King Tyrus. Not long after, we meet up with an elf named Idris, and Idris actually attempts to inform us of something important, but never gets the chance to finish. He's assassinated. We then meet with Lord Isleworth, who gives us directions on where to find King Tyrus. We then successfully assassinate King Tyrus, as has been our mission all along. On our way back to Ardoyan, we are confronted by Arianwin, another elf, who shows us that we killed the wrong king. King Lathis, the king of Ardoyan, is actually in league with Isleworth to resurrect the Dark Lord himself. Next, we move to Roving Elves, which is a bit of an aside in this quest series. It deals with the adventures of Islin and Elunid. We shortly thereafter discover that our character is the human that Islin is upset with. It is our own character who moved Glariel's ashes. We did not consecrate her tomb. And once we have corrected this and given the proper ritual to Glariel, we are given our first elven weapon, and that's either the crystal shield or the crystal bow. Now, getting back on track, we resume with Morning's End Part 1 on July 19th, 2005. So setting things off on the right foot and joining the good guys once and for all is what this quest is all about. We're told that the mourners in West Ardoyan are actually dark elves. We go undercover once again in West Ardoyan and infiltrate the mourners' headquarters in an effort to figure out what they're ultimately up to. We play a role by poisoning some food supplies and repainting some sheep in an effort to make them appear more sickly, which was a highlight of this quest for many, many people and resulted in numerous cannons being seen around RuneScape, over-the-shoulder cannons. We are told that the excavation has begun on a hidden temple below West Ardoyan, and that acquiring control of this temple will greatly increase the speed of the Dark Lord's return. And of course, they're talking none other than the Temple of Light, which is revealed in Morning's End Part 2 on October 17th, 2005. So we begin by heading down the excavation path and discover that some mourners have been killed by mysterious shadow creatures. And this ultimately leads us to the discovery of the Temple of Light, which was hinted to in the previous quest. And upon further examination, we find that the temple's defense system is inoperative. So Arianwin, who we met in the previous Regicide quest, creates a new crystal for us, which first must be imbued with the temple's power at the altar, which of course, as we later discover, is the Death Altar, and then placed onto the original crystal. This is where we find what is RuneScape's most difficult puzzle to date, according to most players, the Maze of Light. After successfully completing this puzzle, players have access to the Death Altar to imbue the new crystal, allowing it to restart the defensive systems once placed. After this, we probably all ran an errand for the dwarf in order to receive the much-coveted Death Talisman, which of course also opened up the Death Altar as a reward from Morning's End Part 2. We then jump ahead 4 years to October 13th, 2009, when Within the Light is released. We enter the Temple of Light once again in order to investigate a disturbance in the light found by Thorgal. A disturbance in the light. We discover a similarity between the energy of the crystal trinket that allows us to pass through the defenses and the energy of a pillar in the Temple of Light. We then decide that we're going to use our body as a conduit to transfer the energy from the temple to the pillar. And then when we do this, we are transported to a different area within a collapsed tunnel. This tunnel contains the remains of an elven messenger, which yields a clue that this tunnel will ultimately lead to the Undercity of Prifddinas. And that, my friends, is where we leave off for Plague's End. I've not done this quest personally as of today. I will be doing it later in this week to provide a full commentary on this week's RSBANDB update episode. For now, I hope you've enjoyed this coverage of where we started off and where we ended up shortly before this week's quest release. Of course, this wouldn't have been possible without help from two very keen lorehounds, Sirion and Alex43. Thank you guys. And remember, if you want to hear more like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you this weekend on RSBANDB Update.